What's up, good people? We are back with another episode of Fractional C-Suite. How are you, Toya?
Hey Case, I'm good. I'm doing good today. Got some work done this morning, and excited to continue pushing. How are you feeling?
Good, good, good. I'm feeling good. It's Friday, Junior. Lot to be excited about. Meeting my love in the States for the first time. His first time on the soil in 2 days. Less than 48 hours. So I'm excited. Excited. But yeah, like today, my mind is intently focused on talking about internet coaches that came out of the pandemic that have just been scamming folks. I just don't know how to put it in a lighter way. And as I've said to you a couple of times, Toya, like I intentionally never really speak about it. Because like I don't really see that. I've never seen it as like a barrier in any way for Blaze, or I really do believe that folks are doing the best that they can, right? And they may not realize they're scamming folks, right? But today it's really top of mind because I see so many brilliant Black women who are at the stages in their journey. So let's say, especially ones who are about 2.5 years in, who started around or right before when I started, starting to lose faith in themselves, and it's not them. They're just ill-equipped, right? Like they're literally just ill-equipped. Like I don't see them reaching for the things they're supposed to be reaching for. Just like any business is supposed to be reaching for different things as they start to scale. And so, yeah, like I think it's important for us to kind of unpack these truths, and we're not a monolith, right? And so there are very perspectives around this, I'm sure. But to bring hope to the founder, entrepreneur, growing CEO that is just ill-equipped today and need to just go get the right foundational, I would say, like foundational knowledge that would help them keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a deep breath on that, Casey, because um, without knowing, and then now as I listen to other people who have experienced this as well, I was one of those people. I've been in programs where, basically just promise like a overnight transformation, and maybe not overnight,
Right.
but like,
No, it was overnight in those marketing copy.
yeah. And I believed it. I believed it
Yeah.
because, for so long you work at something and you feel, because we have been conditioned to believe that hard work is what is going to offer you the merit to like get to that next level or to get to those milestones that you're trying to reach. And it's like, I've been working so hard, like obviously I'm missing something.
Yeah.
And so for me, when I got into that space, it was just like, oh wow, like I see this for me.
Yeah.
I can see myself in this,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna take a big risk, a big financial risk at that, and try to make this work, because obviously if it's possible for these people, surely it's possible for me.
Yeah.
And then, getting behind the doors,
Yeah.
and you observe and you see what's going on. You talk to your peers in the program and see where they are, and you realize, like, man, like this is some really good marketing.
Scammers. Yes.
And it I am to this day kind of like coming back from that, because a lot of the things that were taught to me were things that I was putting out as well, and not really knowing that, and not feeling like 100% confident in my body that it was the right thing to do. But it's like, well, this is what was shown to me. This works for this person, so obviously it works for me. Now I ended up not continuing with that. much to my own disappointment, just because I literally invested so much,
Yeah.
but it didn't feel right either.
Yeah.
And like you said, these are the hard truths. These are the hard conversations about like what it really was.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a lack of competency on my
No.
part, or a lack of anything really. It was just that I was ill-equipped and I wasn't being told the truth, the whole truth anyway.
Yeah, I agree. And like, there's so many. I started writing this quick list this morning, Toya, and not everything is jotted down yet, but like what you said are the exact prongs, right? Like that just grind my gears the most. Now, it has not grinded my gears enough to come and put anybody on blast, because I know they're just trying to eat, right? But just the damage that it does to our community, and then the damage that it does to their families who've sacrificed alongside with them, and then the damage that it does to, right? There's just this huge ripple effect as I look at it 2.5 years later, right? And yeah, so yeah, like let's unpack this, right? And this has to be, I know it, like this has to be a longer series of conversations. So y'all, that is coming, right? Look out for a series around this. But yeah, like one of the things you said, Toya, is, or the underpinning of it is understanding ROI, return on investment. These people, because they have no understanding of how to calculate ROI, they just licking their finger and choosing a high price point because they going off of vibes. This feels luxurious. This feels elite. This feels like I would know what I'm talking about, right? But there is no ROI for the end user, because I should be able, I don't care if I'm going to buy a car, bro. Like, I should be able to look at the fuel economics and see, I can go these many miles per hour. This is how much fuel costs. This is how much money I make, right? And versus this car, this is how much money I save. Return on investment. And I'm passionate about this because folks are scamming folks, right? Like, they're scamming folks. And this is why there's this perpetuated trauma response to finance, perpetuated trauma response to like all of these people who actually do have really good skills to help lift people out of, the mud, right? But like a complete lack of ROI, right? And so folks pay these thousands of dollars because, again, to them, they're taught it's like the church of money. Some people were like, and it was a lot of coaches, right? But some people were in that vein of the church of money. You deserve to make 6 figures. You deserve, right, when really, like, dream bigger, bro. Like, if you really scale the right idea, like, you can make millions and scale a team. Because at the 6-figure, boo, it's still you and your VA, But yeah, like a complete lack of like ROI for the end customer, and a lack of articulation of it, right? Like the best they could do was put an asterisk and says, we cannot guarantee that the results of some will be the results of all, right? But they can't quantify, because it's vibes. It's just vibes when you go on the inside, and no knock, right? No knock, right? And the only reason, because I'm not in the, I wasn't, I actually, like, I saw some Black women in the beginning of this thing, and I paid for a lot of programs, probably like 5 or 6, right? And only 1 out of 6 were good. And I base this off of like the education and experience that I went through in banking, et cetera, right? Like only one out of 6 were good. And like, it wasn't astronomically priced. Shawty was super, super fire. She could literally like tell us exactly what the ROI was going to be on the course. She was absolutely right. Like, literally made all of my money back before I like offered the product. Like that's how this stuff should go, right? But folks will keep selling vibes, and then their students, brilliant Black girls, I see them, they're doing the same thing. They don't even know how to gauge the ROI for the people they're serving. So you don't even know what level of brokenness you are creating, but you're broken, right? Mm-hmm. Right? Which leads to another thing, right? Which is a complete lack of understanding that you're actually supposed to be looking at how you increase your average order value and your customer retention, not how you move from one scam to the next so that you just get enough new people, that you get enough new comments, so you can post enough posts on your social media to show social proof. That's wild when you have literally erupted at least 50 disgruntled folks in your wake. You just moving fast enough to delete those comments and delete, like, that is so, but it's so common, right? Like, All these people they can't tell you how to increase your average order value. They can't tell you how to increase your retention rate so that whatever you spent to get one person, whatever that digital marketing cost for that one person, whatever that giveaway cost for that one person, if you, Black woman, had a strategy to make sure that you stretch her life with you from 4 months to 4 years, you will never have to spend another dollar on marketing to her. You would never have to give her another freebie, ever. Right? You just need to know a way to keep have her retained. Right? Like, how does she stay in proximity? Right? There's a lady, she's about 60 something years old, right? She's been with Blaze. And not to say that, listen, there's so many companies out here getting it right? I'm not saying that Blaze is a paradigm. I'm just saying, like, these are some of the foundational things that is just are completely lacking from, this woman was maybe customer number 9. She was definitely top 10, right? Maybe customer number 9 for Blaze. This woman has moved from a consulting retainer, building her, digitizing her business that was disrupted by the pandemic, to moving to a one-on-one coaching retainer that lasts a year, to moving on to we bridged her to some capital, to moving on to fractional C-suite, right? But that's a strategy, right? Like, that shit ain't vibes. Right? But what folks are being taught and then perpetuating in the hood is fuck them folks. Excuse my French, but that's what it feels like out there. Like, fuck them folks. Like, let me just hurry up and ask people to comment on this post so I can screenshot. They're literally been taught this, right? And then I'm gonna put it on my website and I'm gonna put it on the other stuff, right? And when you get inside of the Facebook community, all you gotta do is scroll down. I'm still in all 5 of the other Facebook communities from the trash programs. Now, I stopped their course 2 days in because they didn't know what the hell they was talking about, right? I knew that. But baby, I would have my popcorn just read, because all you got to do is scroll down 2 months ago, before this last launch, 2 months ago, and you will see this sewage of trash experiences, and nobody was responding to them because they're ill-equipped. They actually don't know. If you've already advanced past them on day 3, they actually can't take you nowhere else, right? Because there's a lack of depth of knowledge, right? And we don't even know how to be in our most profitable skill. I'm gonna stop.
No, you need to keep going, because it's so hard, coming back from this now too, because I kind of put it on the back shelf in the back of my mind, because it was a painful time. But it's the truth, and it's the hard truth that we need to listen to avoid situations like that, but also to heal from situations like that too. Because I promise you, I probably would still be very much shying away from any, being visible, because I know that wasn't something that I needed to be doing. Even having conversations with my husband about it, about how much I invested, to getting into debt because of this. It's so hard. It's so very hard, and I'm smarter than that too. That's the dagger that's just twisted in your back too. It's you're smarter than this, but you talk about that brokenness, and I remember back to that place where I was at. I was willing to do anything to just make something just start turning and flowing for me, because I did not have the advisory, the mentorship, the true and genuine coaching that was able to see me and my skill sets for what they really were, and tailor them to a market that actually needed it in a way that they needed to receive it, like you said, in order to create that ROI for them, to be more of impact and service to the people I was serving, as opposed to just, oh, well, how can I make this work for me? Mm-hmm. And how can I just get creative to make the most money for me? Now, I still want to make the money, but I want to also do it with integrity, like that. The first disappointment that I had with a coach, I was still working with GE at the time, and I invested in this course, and it was good. It really was. But then I started to see what was actually happening behind the scenes, and I realized the coach was plagiarizing. Mm-hmm. Not even just reformatting. This is before ChatGPT and all that kind of stuff too, but it's like, you take out one person's name and put your name, and you take out this part of the paragraph and you put in your experience. Like, wow. And of course, I don't say anything about it. I actually was encouraged not to say anything about it, to be honest with you, which also silenced me even more about it. But it's wild. It creates an even deeper level of distrust, especially when it comes from like other Black women, which is unfortunate, but it makes you more discerning too. Like, for me, I know that going forward, I have to have like a bunch of receipts, not just off your website. I'm going to talk to somebody who went through your program. I want to, make sure that other, like, see who your community is, because that's really what it's about. Like, especially nowadays when you can fabricate a lot of stuff. For me, community is really where I get the real tea, and seeing like who is following you, who is listening to you, taking your advice, but also like what do they have to say about you outside of just what your business produced as well, like who you are as an individual. Anyway, like I said, like I have so many feelings on this topic, just because I've been there a few times, and I'm not jaded to the point where I don't think that coaching is bad. I do believe that there are people, and I do have had really great coaches as well.
Yeah.
But I guess this is just an encouragement to those folks who have been burned in the past, and maybe folks who may be a little like leery of investing in a coach. Like just be, just do your research, be discerning, but also just keep in mind that you also have to know what you're willing to risk, and just be smart about it in the sense that, like, if you are investing into coaching, make sure it's because you want to develop something you're already strong at, and not like you just want to fill in a gap that you feel like you're lacking. Because if you do it from there, they're gonna get you. I'm sorry to say it, they're gonna get you, because they're reaching for those insecurities, they're reaching for that brokenness, and I saw it in those cohorts. The people who were struggling the most were those people who were the most broken, and it was so sad to see, because they could not be helped, and they were never going to be helped.
Yeah, that's real, right? And you didn't do anything wrong, Toya. You are a victim of a wave, a time in history, right? Like that, and it was just like because there are real terms, and that's what I would say, right? When we are right looking for professional services, whether it's coaching, consulting, etc., like, please understand that anything that is trying to teach you some shit that you shouldn't be doing anyway. And I'm glad to say, because I'm telling you, I know that what I'm saying may sound so easy, and it might not be, right? But if you are the CEO of the company, I'm sorry, sis. If you don't already know how to make the website, you got so many other better things to do than make a damn website. Like, you actually start Jump Street, like, bump a VA, like, hire you a little marketing shawty, an intern, bro, so that she can make the website and make sure that your shit on your Instagram matches it. Because where's the branding aesthetic? How do like, you should not be, and I'm saying this with so much love, but it is a red flag to be hopping from program to program to keep learning how to do shit that you should not be doing. That's why your company's not growing, because you don't even know how to be a CEO. Like, you don't even know how to be a CEO. So let's talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Like, number one, it is a horrible idea to scale a bad product. But the internet streets, during the pandemic, during the pandemic, when a whole bunch of people flooded in because they just trying to make some extra cash, right? They taught you how to go from 0 to 100 real quick. And in the wake of that, they scaled horrible products. It did not work. They were getting real-time feedback every single day. Every company that's ever existed on the face of the earth did not start out right. Nobody starts out right. If you start out right on day one, there would already be 100 businesses doing it. We don't have a crystal ball. And I know I'm saying this harsh, okay? I know it's not easy, okay? But I'm gonna say that one more time. If you start out on day one right, then there will already be, because you've not been in the market, you don't have no customers, you damn sure don't got no data on what you're talking about because you don't have no customers, okay? If it's that easy to get it right, boo, there will already be 100 people doing it. And so you would actually have to make it cheap to get somebody to try it. Like, I mean, come on, like, think the supply and demand, right? Like, ain't no way your stuff gonna come out at the tippity top of the market, and you right, and you don't got no like, I doubt it, right? So that means that instead of going to from 0 to 100, where like just like your people who teaching you who've left a bunch of broken people in their wake because they're scaling a horrible product, that's not smart, right? And then these people go and do the same thing because they don't know nothing else, right? What you're supposed to be doing is putting the skinny version of that bit out, okay? Like the skinny version, not the bells and whistles, not all the other shit you can add to it. Like, what is the core problem you solving? And put that out and get feedback on that. Like literally, like have them do the quiz, and you're not aiming for 10 out of 10. I'm saying one more time. You're not aiming for 10 out of 10. Because if you came out right, then we would already have the solutions, or we probably already do, right? You just figuring out how to tweak that thing. And it's so much easier to tweak one thing than it is to go and tweak the 25 systems you got that thing integrated against. That's madness. And by the time it's too late, because now you got horrible reviews in the streets, right? You're trying to change your website every 5 minutes because, like, only scale good stuff, right? And so this is why now the way brilliant Black women who have been damaged, right, and hurt and lied to are doing it is going from product to product and completely destroying and burning down what came before, right? And completely pivoting and, like completely different industries or whatever. Like what really is, and again, all that stuff should just be for free. Like the person who's gonna teach you and go into deep dive, like this stuff should just be available in writing, word, whatever, for free. Because nothing about this is a secret, right? What you're supposed to be doing is you put the first thing out there if you realize which happens more than 50% of the time. I promise. It happens to me. It happens to me all the time, right? And I'm like, okay, great, bet. I'll burn some shit down in a minute. I'll change the strategy in a minute, right? Because I literally don't care so long as my customer is happy, right? And this is more than 50% of the time, if what you put out, you see that your customer actually does not need, like they literally don't need that shit. Like it's not useful, it's not helpful, it's not relevant, it's not the gunshot wound. Then, right, because this is just a skinny version of something. You just tweak that shit. Like, okay, what you ask them, what do you need, right? And they tell you, and you test that. You should not have scaled anything. You should not have invested all these, like you should not, I'm gonna say it again, you should not have invested all of this shit over here, right? Then you test that. And it's like, oh, this is so much better than the last. Now, hopefully you deal with some people that remembers the last instead of, right, the complete one and all, because you still don't have no data on wherever you just went, friend. Over here, you got some depth of knowledge, right? You're just supposed to keep tweaking, pivoting. I mean, not pivoting, right? Tweaking. Sometimes it's a pivot, but it don't need to be like over there. It can be like pivot from like hair extensions to like hair extensions and glue to like hair extensions and the sewing. You know, the sew, they on this now. People are more conscious about, burning your scalp to your brain, whatever, right? But once you figure that shit out, right? Then and I don't care if it's a product-based business, CPG, consumer packaged goods. I don't care if it is solar energy. I'm getting into all the things because there's so much out there, y'all. It's so much more out there than these 3 veins that the internet streets have told you about. Like, I don't care if it's telecommunications, like media, whatever, right? Find the good thing. You ain't spend a lot of money on it, okay? And then you scale the fuck out of that. And we don't need to be 10 things, because when you do 10 things, nobody remembers what you do. They gonna say, that that's the problem, right? We can say McDonald's, we can say Big Mac, we can say Burger King, we can say Whopper, right? Like, the good thing, just the one, and let them show up on your website and be surprised, like, oh, she do 3 other things, right? I didn't know, but you're on the website though. You're on the website though. I'm gonna stop there, but That should be the baseline.
Yes. We don't have that though. We don't have those fundamentals of, you know, the economics of supply and demand, of starting with an MVP and then, you know, tweaking it and getting the data. Like, we don't have that. We don't have, I didn't even have that when I was in corporate, because I was so like siloed into my own industry.
Right.
But I think the same thing happens when you come out of that, and as you're starting a business and you're going for, okay, what's readily available, which is what's on the internet, what's on YouTube, what's on Instagram, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
And you try to follow that, and it's still so very small. Like,
yep.
I think that's the thing that for me was the most like enlightening, even coming out of photography. Once I like took my photography hat off and started to expand even into like coaching and other things, I'm like, wow, like this world is so much bigger. But I still didn't even realize like how big it actually is and what I could actually do, because I'm still so like one track minded of like what's right in front of me. I think that so many Black women could benefit from being challenged to think bigger. Like, that's what you did for me, Casey. Like, you're like, you got to think bigger, because I'm like, I am thinking big. Like, this is as big as, like, no, like, bigger.
Yeah.
And so it's sobering, but it's also very exciting, because it's frustrating when you feel like I've gone as far as I can go, and I've taken this as far as I can go. I've invested as much as I can invest in without, like, you know, disrupting everything else in my life now. Which is why, to me, I always go back to community. Community matters so much to me, because you see that there are other people in alignment with where you are. They're dealing with some of the same challenges that you're dealing with. And sometimes it might be just on a different scale. Like, it doesn't even have to be like the person who is trying to make their first sale versus somebody who is, you know, expanded their market, and now they're starting like from a new level. Like, there's similar parts of the journey that we are experiencing. And until we have these conversations about like what it actually, like the process for me, the process is so important. Because other than that, we're just like grasping for whatever works, and we don't really remember what did and what did not work. We don't have those data points to, you know, create those trends. And there's not, at least in my experience, there hasn't been like enough people that I've seen who have really been transparent about like what that process actually is like. That's usually the first question I ask people, like, what's your process? What's your process? That's so important for me. I don't even know how you did it, but like, how did you get there? Like, what is your thought process like? That's why I love listening to you speak, Casey, especially like the Instagram lives that you've been doing. I learned so much about like how you think, because it's not always that I want to do exactly what you're doing in the way that you do it, but the way you think about what you do is a game changer for me. Like, it just unlocks a new level of creativity, but also like what's possible.
Ashe. And that's what real mentorship, consulting, coaching, advisory does. Right? And I hope all listeners sit in that. That's exactly what it does. It does not ever, and that should be your red flag, it does not ever give you a rigid blueprint that you must follow or you are in doom. If anybody ever says that to you, it's because they have no depth of knowledge and they don't want your questions, because they can't answer your questions, right? It is these fundamental things that teach you why, right? That teach you the crux behind why things work the way they do in the society, but with enough room for you, right, to stand in it your way, right, to think about it your way, to challenge it your way. And then when you come back to them with questions, because they so cold in it, because they so deep in their knowledge and their intuition. And you don't have intuition if you don't have experience. I'm gonna say it one more time for the people in the back. And I know that hurts because the internet coaches told you that all you gotta do is believe. You don't have any intuition if you don't have experience. You haven't seen patterns. You have no idea. You have no gut feeling about it because you ain't never seen it before, right? But somebody that's called and anchored in what they're doing, right, and what they're teaching, not somebody who just all the thing. I'm gonna teach you how to do the whole everything in business. Like that's scary, but right. Then there's actually room for you to ponder it yourself and come back with questions, right? Ponder it yourself and say, I want to disrupt it this way. And if somebody called and anchored and deep in it, they have enough wisdom and intuition around that thing that they can actually take their mind where you talking about and just tell you some shit that saved you 5 years, right? Like. And it's funny to even hear your experiences from your lens, Toya, because I realize now that, I always knew that in October of 2020, real story, right? This is literally the Blaze origin story. In October of 2020, I decided that because I was the only Black woman structuring multi-billion-dollar deals my whole career, I'm talking about a whole decade, and it was not one person that ever was on these deals structuring this shit looking like me, right? I realized that, this knowledge can't be in my community. Like my community can't possibly know this stuff if I've just always been the only person on these. And I'm talking about international deals, right? And the international deal teams, right? What I didn't know, and I found out when I went to the streets though, because I love to take the knowledge to the streets. Like that's why Blaze is building leaders and accepting zero excuses. Like that's it. Like I don't care what type of leader you are. I actually don't care what industry you in. Like that never matters to me. But if you know how to lead, bro, that's why I was talking to with these deals. I'm talking to the CEO. I'm not talking to his VA. I'm not talking to her marketing person. Like I'm talking to the leader who's this visionary saying, I need, $100 billion to like buy this other company and do. I'm like, I bet, right? So we can build leaders and accept zero excuses, right? But I did not know who was on the internet streets teaching it. I'm literally assuming this knowledge not making it to the streets, right? I had no idea. I had no idea who the streets heroes were. Right? And how like shallow their understanding of business was. Right? They're cool people, can dress, pretty colors, like definitely have creative minds, but like very shallow. And it's not their fault, right? Like clearly people just not letting us in the doors. Like I definitely got that. I just got lucky, right? But like I realized, especially hearing you saying, like I just assumed nothing was hitting the streets. I did not know because I was working all day, But to come to the streets and actually like realize that people were looking to people. People were looking to leaders. Like they were investing in education. Like I didn't know. I wasn't on the streets, But it was just scamming. It's like the building fund for the building that never come. That folks was scamming, like playing off of your hopes and the church of money. Like talk to people about one that you deserve, blah blah blah. Just make the small seat. Like that's what that junk was, right? And so the last points I'll say on this, and I'm gonna come off of it. But this has to be a series that's just unpacked because like all of this stuff has to be free. Like none of this stuff should be paid for. This is so rudimentary that like you shouldn't pay nobody for this. Promise. It's way bigger fish to fry. But is around money, right? So number one, you shouldn't. And I said it was love in my heart, right? And I realized that I'm speaking from a place of privilege, right? Because when I stepped into entrepreneurship, I had $100,000 that I could pull that I had just been saving, right? But what I'm saying is nevertheless true, right? When you are starting a business, Black women, you should not depend on your consumers for your livelihood. That's wild because then you behave out of this spirit of scarcity. You're impatient with them because you're trying to put the breakfast plate on the table tomorrow morning and you're scared. And so you create this false sense of FOMO for them where they feel like, oh, like, because why don't I have the money right now? I'm gonna miss this is my one chance to work with her. But like it's so this stuff. But again, we're victims of these systems, right? But like we just keep creating anxiety and trauma in our communities when white folk, damn, I'm talking about any color you name, they coming in the community, setting them shop, and the shit is affordable as hell. The shit is affordable as hell. Why? I'll tell you why. Okay, and I know this because I was a banker doing these deals. Because they got a loan that's paying for the building. They're not exploiting people with prices because supply and demand says you can get 100 of these things across the street. Ain't nothing luxurious about this candy bar, bro. Like, it's just a candy bar, bro, right? But they went to the bank, right? And so let's talk about what actually should happen when you say, and that's about anybody. I don't care if you blue, green, purple, or pink. Anybody, especially us. When you start a business, do your friends and family round, bro. This year, I say in the last 12 months alone, okay? And this shit should always be for free, okay? This ain't even no course right here, right? And the last year alone, $60,000 came from a family round for me. I didn't say crowdfunding. I didn't say going to the bank, right? I asked for what I need when I needed it. Top of mind for me in the last 12 months have been trademarking. That shit costs money, and it's litigation back and forth. But that shit, long game. Build a website, bro. Get somebody else to do. You the CEO. You got other shit to do, right? Because I knew that once Blake, and we are only waiting for one more. We've done 5 trademarks at this point. We got 4, right? As of yesterday, Blaze Group, the name Blaze Group of our company got trademarked. No LLC. I'm spending money on that, right? $350,000 today, 2.5 years in, have come from my personal and family and friends round. Now, like I said, when I started in business, and this shit should always be for free, y'all, okay? All that scarcity, that's a red flag. They don't know what they doing, okay? That's all they got, which is why you got to pay for that, and they're going to run to the next person to scam, right? $100K from my savings, right? And all probably about, I'd say 75 to 85K from my family, right? And not all at once. As I have much like the pitching that the CEO should do when they selling or anything else. I tell them what I'm trying to do, how much it's going to cost, and what the end result is. ROI. What is the value in this? And they say, okay, bet. And they send that money, right? This is what they do. And then the rest was bootstrapped revenue. There is a term called bootstrapped revenue. What does bootstrapped revenue mean if I'm telling you that you don't have to get it from your consumer in the beginning so that you ain't banging them over the head and they can't sleep at night and they going to get loans, right? That's trauma to pay for that shit, right? It is do some other shit to get it. I don't care if you're driving Uber. How did I bootstrap my revenue? I was consulting doggone clients that don't look like black women, right? Dude out in Nairobi, Kenya, black man, helping farmers and shit. I was making that guap, bootstrapping my revenue and putting it back in my business. So if you're driving Uber at night, you don't got to put that shit on your website, okay? Right? Just bootstrap your revenue, right? And something that you have domain knowledge in, right? That's in your pinky finger. It don't stress you out. It don't distract you too much. You know what I'm saying? And just bootstrap your way there. $350K was just bootstrapped inside of our company today in the last 2.5 years. But these are the things you just need to know so that folks, like you're supposed to ask your family and friends. Like you're supposed to. You're supposed to come to them. And if you don't know, and it's going to sound harsh, but I mean it. And I love you, but I mean it. If you do not know how to tell a story for your company and get somebody to do what you want them to do, you need to be rethinking whether you should leave the company. Because you won't be able to make a sale. You won't be able to raise no money. You won't be able to get partnerships. Like, that is the CEO job. You can do something else, right? You can be the marketer. You can be the operations person. That is just such a core part of leadership. So get them reps in talking to your family, right? Like, get them reps in talking to your friends and saying, hey, bro, I need 20K. And, literally tell a story that compels them. Like, get them reps in. And then after that, right, what else? Is it bank debt? That's cool. Is it venture capital? I still ain't said your customers have to pay for your... Now, for some people, they will. If Casey was running a consulting company, I'm not. Okay, then sure, my customer, but no, I'm not. Ain't doing it, right? So I'm gonna get off my soapbox, but Yes, like revenue piece. Think about it. The one-to-many model. I don't see us ever doing this ever, and it kind of, but ain't nobody teaching it. One relationship costs you the same amount of time, whether they bringing you 3,000 folk or they bringing you one. So one of many models, they work, do it, right? But okay, we'll pick this up at another time for sure. But just had to thank you, Toya, for navigating this with me.
I needed this. Thank you.
All right, y'all. Well, that's it for this week. Tune in next week. We only have a couple of more episodes in the series, so definitely catch up to anything that you missed. Catch the last. I believe we just have 2 left, 2 or 3 left, but we'll come at you with another exciting series. You'll hear more about that in the weeks to come. I am Casey, and I'm super called in finance if I do say so myself. Toya is a guru in all things operations, and we appreciate you for rocking with us today. Check out more of Blaze content on Blaze Group app, the Blaze Group app, available on Android and Apple. And we'll see you on the other side. Peace.